What's up, everyone? Get $50 instantly when you play $5 and use a promo code presented by Prize Picks. Welcome to Light Years. Andy, a chaotic Sunday night for Bay Area sports fans. I don't know how else to really put it. You get the Warriors home opener, but also Niners Cowboys, which will always be a draw, but particularly since the Niners have been, it's not been a good season. Chaotic is the way I would describe how this night felt.
2,000 things happening at once, from like the really bad start to, I thought like good second half for both teams. We'll get to the Warriors. Obviously, the Niners barely survived, and the Warriors, I think, probably get the tougher end of it. But hey, man, Bay Area sports, dude, this is why we love it, bro. This is why we love it. You just extra pain at all times, and this is sports. What makes you stronger? Entertainment.
You ready for the bye week? You ready for a Niner bye week?
I feel like the Warriors could use a bye week now. Oh man, Steph, come on. I feel like the Warriors could use, but yeah, the Niners need a bye week. I think more so than any other football team out there. It's not even that they look that bad. I think they just need a week. They need a mental health day. Mental health week is what they need, and CMC will come back. I think people say. So we'll see.
Yeah, George Kittle carrying my fantasy team, but
he's amazing.
It's always fun when you got a player on your team who's like on the injury report the minute Monday hits, and you're just like, are they going to play? I don't know. It sounds like they are icing every part of their body at all times. And then Sunday comes around, he looks fucking like the Hall of Famer he is. So
he is amazing. Him and Debo, by the way, just every injury known to man. This is always amazing that NFL versus the NBA. It blows my mind that George Kittle is playing through a sprained foot, ribs. Debo just got pneumonia, just got out of the hospital. He's on the basketball court. It always amazes me NFL players what they will play through. And Joel Embiid won't play back to backs, but we're not gonna go down that road.
Well, so the Warriors lose their home opener to the Clippers. Disappointing game, and honestly, I was ready to get into it, but the real disappointment of it was Steph limped off with the ankle thing.
Yeah.
Get an MRI tomorrow. Steve Kerr downplaying it, saying he thinks it's mild to moderate. But I don't know, man. I feel like, we don't need to get our guy Dr. Rob on here, although he's always welcome. He's our guy. I feel like when it comes to Steph Curry ankle injuries, I am a medical doctor at this stage. How many of these have we been through at this point, Andy?
This is I'm just happy it's happening in October and not happening in the middle of a run that the Warriors have to make in like early January.
All right. So what are you calling this, Dr. Andy? What is this?
This is 2 weeks. I think this is 2 weeks. And he's done for a couple weeks, I think. What do you think?
That's about what I was going to go with. I was going to say, 2 weeks. I think if it was more important basketball, and by that I mean like playoff stuff, maybe they get him back in a week or so. But this is for sure going to be 2 weeks, maybe 3, but we'll call it 2 weeks.
I agree.
And you know what? If he's back in a week to 10 days, or he only misses the Pelicans game, I'm happy to come on here and be like, you know what? That's why I'm not a doctor. So but I've seen enough of these. I don't know, man. He's going to for sure miss a week plus. So
we've been doing this for 10 years. So you asked me a question, how many times have we done this? 2 times a year, 20 times? 20 times that we've been diagnosing as MDs on this live stream, YouTube, on this beloved podcast. Yeah, I don't. Gotta be at least 2. It's the retwist.
So many platforms, there's Twitter, Zoom, Apple, Spotify,
playback,
Spotify Live, playback, YouTube, you name it. We've had to discuss
locker room.
Steph Curry ankle tweak where it's not like the most serious injury, but it's going to miss time.
He retwisted it. It was the worst part of it for me. It's twisted it the first time. And you see him on the bench. He's doing the little band stretch stuff, and he comes back and immediately sprints. And I'm just like, God. And he immediately goes to the locker room. You know how Steph is. He kind of, if Steph, he never wants to show weakness with the ankle, right? So he's always going to stay on the court. That's why he's staying on the court after the first sprain. But after the second one, I don't know. Hopefully it's not a high ankle, but Steve, I think if it was, we would know. So hopefully just a couple weeks, man. That's the toughest part of this game.
Let's talk about this game. And actually, Yeah, let's talk about this game real quick. I don't want to dwell on it too much. Like, it's annoying. They lost their home opener. They looked like they were going to lose it before Steph went away.
Yep.
To be
Yep.
honest. All the negative thoughts I had about this roster that did not show in the first two games showed tonight. You know?
Yep.
New players, bad lineup combinations, no second option, suffocating Steph, begging someone to take over. Side note, Andrew Wiggins, some of the shots he hit, I've never seen him do in his career. Right. But you know, it's like kind of one of those, if you were to say this isn't going to work, tonight was an example of why this roster wasn't going to work. And then Steph sprains his ankle, and obviously it's a bigger story than all this, but frustrating, man.
I think you named a couple things, and I think you forgot to name one more thing, was the Buddy Hield struggle tonight, 1 for 9 from 3. That's probably one of the biggest reasons they lost. But to me, it was the lineup construction and how they want to play defense around the lineup construction, because they allowed 112 points tonight, and honestly, it felt like it was 150. So I mean, Norman Powell 20 points, Vigas Zubac looked like Shaq tonight, 23, but he only had 23, 18 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, what is happening there? I thought this team was going to be a lot better defensively tonight. They didn't play any type of defense. Draymond Green only played 27 minutes. Didn't play down the stretch, by the way, for whatever reason.
Awful.
Fitz, I think
he played awful.
He was bad. Fitz said it was a knee, but I think Fitz just being nice. I think that was a low key, like kind of Steve was just saying, "Look, you're done. Like if we're gonna make this comeback, we're doing it with the kids and Looney."
DNP, you had too much fun Saturday night.
Yeah,
you know, that's. I don't know.
Maybe
he wasn't into the game the entire way, and
no.
You know,
he was awful. He really was. And the thing is, the Clippers were the one coming off the back-to-back. I thought the Warriors were almost 10-point favorites tonight. I thought it was going to be a fun home opener. I thought they're roaming off the court, right? Harden's not going to be ready to play off a back-to-back. They just played in Denver yesterday on altitude. How are they going to be ready to play?
I'm going to ask you. Yeah. So let's assume Steph and Harden are equal players, which I do not think they are, to be clear. But like, okay, Steph's a superstar, Harden's a superstar, right? What roster do you like more around them? And this is the Kawhi-less, by the way, because their plan was always Harden and Kawhi, but Kawhi's gone. Do you like the role players that the Clippers threw out there tonight, or do you like the Warriors cast of role players that threw out around Steph tonight?
Well,
or do you feel like it's negligible? Like you get the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it's close. I think the Clippers have a more defined set of role players at the top, which are better than the Warriors. I think Derrick Jones Jr., by the way, had 18 points tonight. Looked incredible. That's unacceptable that Derrick Jones Jr. had 18 points tonight. But he's better.
He score 18 points in the playoffs?
In the entire playoffs combined. But you just look at it. Norman Powell, Zubac, DJJ, like those guys are better at the top than what Steph has, especially when you talk about a game like tonight, where guys are playing awful, right? Especially Draymond. We'll get to Kuminga at some point here, who was really bad, and really it was just Wiggins. That's all it was tonight. TJD wasn't good either.
Phenomenal, yeah. But yeah,
everyone got completely erased against who they played with. So I think to answer your question, like, I mean, the depth is probably better for the Warriors. Like Hield, Slow-Mo, by the way, only played 4 minutes. Kind of gross. Warriors are probably better, but like just talent at the top, the Clippers still do have better role player talent at the top than the Warriors, which
so like, you know, we could debate this, and I really don't want to debate Norm Powell versus Moses Moody or Pods or something like that. I think my takeaway from watching it is I don't know that there's a tangible difference between the two. I think they're both kind of equal, and you know, people are assuming the Clippers are going to suck this year. So, I don't know. It doesn't make me feel good where the first time the Warriors go against a team who can play any semblance of defense, they look pretty mediocre the entire way through.
That's the interesting part, is that this is the first game that they've played against a real team. So maybe you can argue it's like, you know, maybe they were a little surprised. Maybe they had to get their footing under them, right? Maybe they kind of got shellacked a little bit, right? Because, you know, it's like college football or college basketball. It's like Alabama plays shit teams, right? For
you on the preseason tour against 1AAs and D2 teams, and you feel like the man, and then you play a real team, and you're like,
Actually, that's probably Oregon is the one. The Oregon's the best team in the nation right now, but they're probably the one, right? They run it up against every team, and then when they play like a real team, they struggle. But maybe that's if you want to give a little copium. That's probably it. Because I do think. I mean, dude, 21 turnovers tonight for the Warriors.
Yeah, but why'd they turn over that much?
Can't dribble, can't get to the rim, can't create.
Can't dribble, have terrible spacing.
Yeah,
that's pretty much I mean, I think it was noticeable. It was noticeable. Steve goes small after playing the starting lineup immediately because he's like, I got to generate something because we're not skilled enough to make it happen with bigger lineups. We need to go small to find an advantage.
Well, the thing is, I actually thought the starting lineup probably played the best to start a game out of the 3 games today. Like, this was probably their best start, primarily because Wiggins made some shots. And so I think that was good, but they didn't play any defense. So Draymond Green's, I think, post-conference after the second game was, this lineup is meant to play defense. I think Steve Kerr said the same thing. They didn't, even today, they scored 22 points in the first 6 minutes. I remember that. I was thinking, 22 points. Gave up 23.
Yeah,
in the first 6 minutes, and
you would think,
you know what I mean? It's crazy.
You would think if you get 22 points in 6 minutes with this lineup, you're doing well because this lineup's a defensive lineup. But no, man, it was a race to 150.
It's a little so interesting. I want to give him some grace and some time, but now Steph is hurt, so it's kind of hard to be like, okay, I want to see them play some good teams. Like the Pelicans are like another decent team. They're a good team. Like they're the Clippers level team. Like the Warriors definitely could lose both of those games. I want to see what they look like, but Steph is out. I guess the question is like, how do they actually generate? Because I don't think you can consistently. In the last 5 minutes, all they did was give Wiggins the ball and he made shit happen. But like, what can you really do now? Like, is it the Pods show? Does he start? Does Hield come into the picture in the starting lineup? So I think those things are fascinating with Steph out a couple weeks.
Yeah, and even if it's just a week, like you need to win at least one of these games. You're playing the Pelicans twice. A split would be phenomenal. Like you need to be able to generate some wins with them off the floor. I'm curious to see how they go with it. Before we get to it, talk about our sponsor.
Like your podcast, we are brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. You're watching on the live stream, just go look at the screen. Go look at the screen right there. Prize Picks, use code LIGHTYEARS for a $50 match on a $5 deposit. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as possible. Sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Prize Picks, best way to win real money this football season. Justin Jefferson, more than 83.5 yards. Isaac Guerrendo, I don't even know if he's on. I know Jordan Mason is. He would have ruined your Prize Picks parlay today, but
I got Guerrendo on my fantasy team, so I know he's definitely on Prize Picks because I saw
baller.
I played a line tonight.
Did you?
I don't want to talk about it because I played it the wrong way. But he was there. He was there, my man. So
just over on all the yards and the touchdown. Hey, look, if you get an over on the dives that he takes, he's good for one of those kneel downs, every single game, it looks like. So cook up hot takes with your friends, win real money. Look, it's really easy. Download the app today, use the code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app, use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Pretty excited about our next one.
Let's go.
So this is a personal one. This is a local sponsor. Andy and I, we're local guys. It means something to us. And I say that, but
I'm
our
happy.
friends at Body Spec actually have locations outside the Bay Area too. So if you're in Southern California, if you're in Austin, Texas, you can get in on this too. But let's talk about our guys. You guys ready to kickstart your fitness journey? Whatever it may be, your fitness journey, your jersey, whatever. All right. Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or just trying to get back into shape, Body Spec has you covered. For less than the price of a haircut, man, you can get a DEXA scan, the world's most accurate body composition scan. And just to tie this all together, Andy and I are actually going to get our scans this week. You guys can track. You guys can be like, "Oh, you have like 45% body fat. What the hell, man?" You know,
Dude, that's
I'm
insane.
about to lay it out there for you and let you guys know how fat I am. All right, transform your New Year's resolution into reality right now. We're offering an exclusive discount on single scans. So let me put it this way: you use the promo code LightYears45 at checkout, and you get a DEXA scan for only $45. Usually these cost what? Like $150, $200 at the gym?
Yep.
Come on, $45? I know what our listeners, you spend that at the bar like an idiot. Like, come on, man. This is a much better use of your money. Get your body composition, figure it out. Honestly, is your copay even $45? You don't need insurance and you're getting a full scan, get all your thing. Only 2% of the world have got to experience a DEXA scan. Not a better deal out there.
Well, I think this one's huge because I'm always trying to figure out if I'm actually healthy or not. My body's changed the last 5 years, Sam. I'm getting bigger and bigger the older I get, and so it's getting harder to figure out like, hey man, what type of body fat do I have? What type of body mass index? Like this type of stuff, and you don't get this type of access anywhere, right?
No.
Usually to do this, you gotta have a gym membership that's probably costing you at least $200, $250 a month. The cool thing here too is like if you're not in San Francisco or Santa Clara where Body Spec is, they've also got mobile vans, right, in different places. Like they've got one in San Mateo that I'm gonna head to this week, so that I don't have to drive all the way to
They'll
different
hit you
parts
up in
of the Bay.
Tracy. They'll hit you up in Nevada. If you're in the Bay Area, if you're in the greater Los Angeles area, you can do it. It'll be like 15 minutes of your time, man. It's a good thing.
Yep.
Body Spec. Body Spec. Promo code LightYears45.
My trainer, my trainer uses Body Spec, by the way. Although I think he's like 10%. I'm like 28. We'll see. We'll find out. But I can't wait. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, so no Steph for the next couple of games. I'm curious, what's the number one thing you want to see without Steph Curry?
I want to see what the starting lineup looks like. I got a feeling, Sam, that the starting lineup is not going to be plug and play. Hey, Pajemski, you're going to go in for Steph. And this is partly like me saying, like, hey, you're right. The starting lineup was there for a reason because Steve was like, okay, we can parlay this starting lineup into like we can get away with these first 6, 7, 8 minutes, and then when I could put the lineups that I want, we're going to go and look good. It worked the first 2 games. Tonight was a little bit shakier, but I think now with Steph out, I guarantee you that the lineup is going to be not just going to be those 4 guys, those big guys, and Pods. No chance. Heald might be in there, right? Melton might be in there. You know what I mean? If I had to guess, I would guess like at least Melton or Heald, if not both, are in the starting lineup come Tuesday.
I'm putting my money on Pods and Buddy starting, and mostly because like they've kind of alluded to it, but Melton's got some sort of like minor injury right now, which is like always a concern.
Oh, does he?
That's why his back's a little banged up. That's why he's not playing as much as other guys. But I'm with you. You can't just only Steph Curry can play in that lineup at the point guard with like no shooting or ball handling. And honestly, I was going to make the point that they need to stop doing that with Steph because, yeah, he can make it work, but like it's not the best way to use him. Anyway, he's not in there right now. Pod certainly is not as offensively gifted as Steph, so you need to put a little more offense out there. So I would bet on Pods and Buddy starting. And my question for you is, who goes to the bench?
I mean, I think Kuminga goes to the bench. I think he has to go to the bench. But here's the thing. One of the fascinating things with Steph out is where are you going to get 28 points a game? And Kuminga, he has to be able to play better than he has today. They actually have no choice but for him to be the primary probably scorer off the bench. And if it isn't off the bench, if he's still in the starting lineup, fine. He's still going to have to provide you that scoring punch in the starting lineup. And maybe having Buddy in there and Wiggins now shooting well, maybe that'll help. And Pods, he didn't make a shot today, but he could shoot the ball. He could shoot the ball. So maybe you put more scoring around Kuminga and make it easier for him to score because you're going to need him to score. They can't win. They can't win without Kuminga looking good the next few games. That's for damn sure, in my opinion, especially without Steph.
Yeah, he's been terrible the first 3 games. He's
Really?
I'm not even.
People are.
I'm higher on him than you, and clearly the chat right now. But I'm not going to defend this play. It looks completely lost. He's out of position. I'm personally not a person who believes in him as a 3 with 2 big men who can't shoot, and he's not really doing anything to change my opinion. To your point, maybe the Steph injury makes it easier for Steve to be like, hey, you need to play the 4 for this lineup to work. So he goes to that, and
you will.
Maybe that's the thing that jumpstarts him a little bit. Pods the other one I'm curious about because Pods he has not played poorly, but his offense also hasn't taken any leap from last year, which was, I think we spent the offseason thinking a leap was coming offensively, and it may come, but 3 months of shooting jumpers in open gym hasn't tangibly changed him as an offensive player since last year, right? So, I don't expect him to turn into Steve Nash next year or really any year, to be honest with you. But does this get him going? Does a little more on his plate force him to do a little more, get his shot, look for a shot a little more, make his shot a little more, do a little more offensive because they need him. He can't just be the way they've built this team. He can't just be a 4-point connector guy.
Yeah. I think this is going to be good for him because look, dude, he's shooting under 10% from 3 right now, and he shot 37% from 3 last season. He's gonna 30, 39,
38, 38 and a half.
Come on, he's gonna make his shots there. They don't need him to score 20 points. I think the same thing with Kuminga. I'm not really looking to see for 20 points, but both guys, they should be Kuminga at least 16, 18. And then I think Pods should be scoring double digits with Steph out. I think pretty easily. So I actually don't think it's too much of a problem. I think it's what you're saying. When Pods is coming off the bench and he's leading the second unit, I think his mind is I'm going to get Heald the ball. I'm going to get Wiggins the ball. I'm going to get someone the ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Moody the ball. And I know he shot 8 times tonight, but it just kind of feels like he's looking to pass, and dribble. Whereas it's you got to kind of create because who else on this team can dribble better than Pods or make decisions? Steph and I would say Steph and Draymond turned the ball over 20 times tonight. So it's but still, it's those two guys. Other than that, that's it. Other than that, it's it. Melton.
His entire value is he's a good playmaker, and you could only be as good a playmaker as your ability to punish a defense to hit a shot off of it. So he hasn't done that through 3 games. Whatever, it's 3 games. Who cares, right? But at some point, he's got to take the fact that teams are playing him for the pass and be like, all right, if you're going to play him like that, I'm going to hit jumpers in your face. So
Pods and Kuminga are kind of in the same boat, honestly. Yeah. And Pods is playing better, but it is a little bit okay, man, those are the 2 guys. I'm not trying to make this a macro thing, but those are the 2 guys that this future is hinging itself on, is it not? Those are kind of the 2 guys.
Forget the future. They tried to trade both of them in the offseason. And I mean, they did. They were both. Shoot, it's the internet. In both cases, they did not pull off the Paul George or Lauri trade because they thought the price was too high. Which I always read as it's not that I'm not willing to give up Lauri. Sorry, it's not that I'm not willing to give up Pods. It's not that I'm not willing to give up Kuminga. I'm not willing to give them up and give you like 3 draft picks. Like they valued them very highly. It was like a total like asset thing. All right. That's the way you're playing it. You're putting a lot of pressure on them to perform to some capability. And through 3 games, Pods definitely played better through the first 3 games, but only one of those games I thought he really stood out in. The other 2, like he hasn't really hit shots, and Kuminga's just been a mess the whole time.
Yeah.
And
I think both guys will play better. I think they will. Can I make? I want to go back to your Lauri point because I want to be clear with this one because I do see a lot of people that say like every time Pods does something and for some reason it's only Pods. It's never really with Kuminga. I think people are more like, oh, Kuminga's not playing well. The Pod stuff is always like, oh, he's playing bad. They could have just had Lauri. Can we just do this really quickly because they could not have gotten Lauri for Pods. That was not what Danny Ainge wanted. Danny Ainge wanted Podziemski, Kuminga, Moses Moody, 3 first rounds unprotected, and 14 first-round pick swaps for the next 50 years. Like, this was not let's just do Pods and 2 first-round picks. If that was the case, the trade would have been fucking done.
Yeah.
The trade would have been done if that was the case. That was not the case. It was not the case. The trade that Utah wanted was everything.
And you know
what I mean? Yeah.
And my criticism of the Warriors was, come on, man. Have you not seen how Danny Ainge does business? Like, what are you doing even like pretending this is a real scenario? Yeah, like just move to another target, try something else. But that's under the bridge. That's another thing. Right. Yeah, to your point, yeah, it wasn't like the deal's on the finish line and Joe Lacob says, no, not Pods.
Not Pods. Hey, come on.
Oh, no.
If it was just Pods, Lacob would have fucking held Pod's hand and got on his private jet and sent them to Utah. Like the Warriors, I don't think were at fault there specifically. Did not choose it. I think it's unfair to Podziemski for people to say that. I just want to point.
Yeah, it's like my whole thing with the Warriors has always been the Lauri trade was like, okay, and Ainge is probably being a dick about it. The Paul George thing, okay, maybe the Clippers don't want to do it. The Siakam thing, okay, it's not any one of them. It's getting none of them done. Like ability to read the room and get something across the finish line.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've talked about that enough.
Yep.
What about Wiggins? Can we talk about Wiggins real quick? Best I've seen him play. He's, know what? We're talking about Pods and Kuminga having slow starts of the season. He's not. He's done phenomenal. This is some of the best basketball I've seen him play in a long, long time.
It might be the best basketball I've ever seen him play since he clamped Jason Tatum. I mean, like that 1 month was the best basketball, but just this is not a 1-game thing. This has been the case through all 3 games. He just ended up making shots tonight. The energy has been incredible the first 2, and tonight less rebounding, but the defense was still very good. And 29 points in 29 minutes is obscene. The 3-point shooting is back, which I think it was gone last season. We just didn't see him make any shots. And anytime he goes to that spin move mid-range and he just pops it, I'm just like, yeah, the confidence is fully there. I don't know what the difference is. Frankly, I don't care. All I know is I'm happy as fuck that Wiggins is back to who he is. Because at the end of the day, like it's not like he's 35, man. He's the in-prime guy. He's the one in-prime guy that the Warriors have, and he looks as good as he ever has. It's cool, man. It's really cool to see him come back to do that. So he's got some big like shoes to fill ahead of him just because Steph's out and he's kind of like the guy that plays best 2-way. So like on Tuesday, for example, he's gonna be guarding Ingram and having to score. So it'll be tough for him, tough sledding, but I don't know. It's cool to see him play like this.
I'm curious to see what happened. When Steph went down, they started running the Kevin Durant offense.
Crazy.
Which I was just like, what are we doing here? Just high ball screen, pulling up into an 18-footer, and he fucking hit it. And I was just like, damn, man. I don't know that this is the way I want to go with Wiggins, but he's playing phenomenal. I can't say anything about that. So curious what they go with that. I'm with you in the bigger picture, which is it's good to see him back playing kind of to his best ability. And I'm really curious to see if like removing Steph from the picture is the type of thing that kind of it's like fight or flight. Like, does this bring out the best in Pods and Kuminga, who've had like kind of like a slow, lethargic start? And like, honestly, is it even surprising? They're playing 12 men. It's like hard to find a rhythm. Sometimes you just find out more about guys when it's like, okay, now you have to perform a little bit.
And the thing is, Wiggins only played 29 minutes tonight. That's the craziest part. Like, what if he plays 7 more minutes? I mean, efficiency probably goes down, but he goes for 30 something.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to throw out there too, I think, is this is why I think he is. It's not that he's untradeable. It's that if you trade Wiggins, you better have a fucking answer on what comes back and what that person does to fill the things that he does well. Which has always been the problem. It's like, in theory, this is an amazing defensive player, and he'll give you enough pop on offense to be such a valuable two-way wing in a league that values them so highly. If you trade him, what do you get? And so I think now you're seeing, like, how much does he get paid a year? Like 27 mil? Shit's bargain, right? For now, what we're seeing out of Andrew Wiggins, you definitely, I think,
it's a bargain. It's a bargain this week, but you know, if you want to look at it in the bigger picture, it's mostly just a bad deal. So,
well, I think their argument would be, is it though? Because this is not 29 is crazy every game, but consistently, let's say, for example, you merge in the first 2 games and this one, I think that's a play you kind of can't trade.
Yeah, but he's not been this guy consistently. Is the problem? You know?
Well, I think that's why for them they want to do it, but then they can't. It's one step in, one step out. They want to, but they can't because the guy coming back can't do this, right? Like that's the problem. It's like Bobby Portis can't do this. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, we want to trade it because it's not great, but then we get back Bobby Portis and he doesn't do any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a guy that maybe plays 15 minutes off the bench for a winning team, right?
The chat points out, I think this is the best way to put it because it's 100% true. If he was this guy consistently, he'd make 40 a year. That is true. That's what OG Anunoby gets. Who, by the way, I don't even know if he should get that.
I was gonna say, ooh,
because he's consistently that guy, but he only plays 54 games a year. You know, so it's the same thing.
Mikal Bridges, does he deserve all that money? I don't know.
He hasn't got paid all that money yet, though. That's the thing. Right now he's a 20 guy, and everyone's like, "Oh, what a steal!" Do you feel like he's a steal when he gets double that? I don't know.
Wiggins and OG is, I think, an interesting conversation. Like, when their career ends, it's going to be an interesting because OG is so beloved, and I love OG Anunoby, but
OG's wildly overrated. But I disagree with this one. The hitter, bull, Sims the hitter. Wiggins is better than OG. I don't know that he is. I don't know. I mean, I think they both suffer from the same flaw. Like, it's just a consistency thing.
Well, I think it's Wiggins was drafted first, so people look at Wiggins and are like, "Oh, you're this 3-and-D guy," and OG Anunoby's kind of just a random guy, but it's like, "Oh, he's a great 3-and-D guy." I don't. Well, certainly Wiggins has the better resume now, I think, for sure. We'll see what it looks like, when the career ends. But one guy's a champion and one guy's not. But we'll see.
Yeah, he's played 500 games in this league and been terrible for 440 of them. Great.
He's been terrible.
I watched the first 7 years in Minnesota, so
terrible.
But then on the flip side, dude, Kuminga is better than Wiggins was in Minnesota.
That's not true.
Be honest.
That's not true. That's not true.
I don't even think that's a question.
That's not true. Oh, throw it in the chat. Wiggins in Minnesota is by far a better player than Kuminga is. That's not a question. Wiggins is by far better.
No. The early years, come on, man. This is the same type of thing.
No.
You guys are.
Trust me. I'm in the chat now. Maybe we'll throw that out as like a question for some people. Not that it's a big thing, but it's like Wiggins. I know it was an inefficient score, but man, he could score.
Bro,
he could do everything.
You don't think Kuminga could get 25 if you just let him chuck? Come on, man. They were terrible. Terrible, man.
And the thing is,
good.
If you look at the way that they turn Wiggins into a defender, inherently that means he can always defend. I don't think Kuminga can inherently defend. You're gonna Wiggins could always inherently defend. I don't think the Warriors did anything to make him this amazing. They didn't teach him footwork on how to be a great defender. They said, hey, go try harder on defense and don't dribble and shoot contested middies. Kuminga, they're trying to say try harder on defense, and he can't guard Norman Powell tonight. Like, it's just going right by him. Who's the other guy? Derrick Jones Jr. going right by him.
You do realize Kuminga is younger than Wiggins was in his 5th year.
Yeah, but the argument is not that. The argument is whether Kuminga's in his 1st year in Minnesota is better than Kuminga was.
Wiggins was the epitome of empty calories for about like 5 years there, dude.
Wiggins was better in Minnesota. I don't think it's even a question. I think people would agree. I don't think it's close.
No, like we were talking about, they won 25 games every year. They get Jimmy Butler. They make the playoffs because Jimmy is an actual fucking winning player. And then they go back to winning 25 games a year. They're not good. It's just another version of the Houston Rockets. It's the same Jalen Green show, which is low-key what Kuminga would be if he was in another situation anyway. So, this is not good in any capacity.
Yeah.
I'm not. This is such revisionist history. This is no.
I don't care, but I don't think I think it's look, everything
by the way, it's not a comment that Kuminga's good by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's at this point playing empty calories basketball. Just to be clear.
Well, all of it's theoretical in any case, right? Because one guy actually did it in Minnesota. The other guy hasn't gotten a chance to play the empty calorie basketball you're talking about. I'm just saying I'd rather have when it all is over.
You're playing it backwards, man.
When it's all over, I'd rather have Wiggins' career. I think I'm going to win that argument.
Well, because the odds that Kuminga's ever going to put together a season like what Wiggins did in 2022
but that's the point. That doesn't matter though. My argument is that I'd rather have Wiggins' career when it's all said and done than Kuminga's career. I'd rather have it than OG Anunoby's career at this point. I think it's inarguable actually, and we'll take a look.
OG will be seen. Actually, no, I feel pretty confident. OG's never going to do anything that Wiggins did.
Yeah, maybe.
I also think OG's overrated. But what was I going to say?
I love him.
My
Certainly
point
OG's
is
better than Kuminga, but yeah.
Well, OG's a good player. The thing with OG Anunoby is it's not that he's not a good player. It's that people get a little too excited about who he is as a player.
Facts. It's because it's cool when a guy like he plays the type of basketball I think it's like people do like from role players. You know what I mean? And OG doesn't try to do more than he really thinks he could do. That's a cool thing about OG. Like he's not trying to be like, all right, I'm gonna go to a team and try to shoot 25 times. Like OG doesn't. I don't think OG cares about that. If he did, he wouldn't be on the Knicks. So
no, he's just sitting in the the OG thing is like very much like kind of like making fun of nerds who like subtly overrate that caliber of player. Of like, he is a good player, he's a winning player. Every team needs guys like that. And I'm not downplaying that, but it's like, all right, it's not the superstar of the team. Be a little more realistic here.
It's like the Rudy Gobert like stuff too. Like Rudy Gobert is just a roided version of OG. It's like Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. Obviously more valuable because he's a wing, and that translates better to the playoffs. But it's the same idea of like, all right, man, this is not a 4-time defense. Like, relax a little bit on this one. Yeah.
What are we doing here? Everyone, I think we all fall in love with certain players, but OG and Knicks, interesting. They got two of those guys. They got OG and McHale. I think people love those guys. We'll see what happens.
Fun fact for you: Kuminga has a higher 3-point percentage than Wiggins did in 6 years in Minnesota on higher volume.
Yeah, who's better shooter? Like eye test. Like, what are we talking about here?
Now he's a better shooter.
Wiggins will always be a better shooter than Kuminga.
He was a terrible shooter in Minnesota.
I guarantee you, Wiggins will be a better always.
Bro, he shot 40% for 6.5 years.
Guarantee you. Eye test. Andrew Wiggins, better shooter than Kuminga. I don't think it's even a
He was
question.
not a good shooter in Minnesota. What are we doing here? No, I'm not backing off this point. He's actually
He might have taken bad shots, but
the case
he's
the
not.
case
He's
I
not
will
taking
make
wide open
just to be clear. So everyone listening to this, I'm not claiming Kuminga is going to be a better player. The case for the case for Wiggins is I think he realized who he was and bought into that role, which I'm not convinced Kuminga will ever do, if I'm being honest.
That we agree on. So that we agree.
That's a different thing. And so buy into being that dude. He's very good at being that dude. So
that we agree on. Which is why I take.
Go
ahead. No, I would take the bet that Wiggins would have the better career. That's why because he wanted to be that guy, and I don't know if Kuminga will, but yeah, you got me as the Wiggins stand tonight. It feels good because he had 29 points tonight, so it makes me feel good that I'm taking Wiggins aside. Feel very smart tonight. I feel like I'm riding high.
I'm not even saying no on that. I'm just going backwards to not rewriting Minnesota years. It's not what I'm.
He was made fun of a lot. He took a lot of bad shots. He was kind of a clown, or clown's a harsh word. He was kind of a joke. People made fun of him. Made a lot of money, but he doesn't take away from the fact that he didn't change his shot when he got to the Warriors. He didn't change the way he played defense against guards. He could always do those things. He just didn't want to.
Or he was 26, 27, and it just started coming together for him. That's all I'm saying. I think Kuminga. I don't actually want to get into
his shot, man. He didn't go to the Warriors. And Steve Kerr fixed his elbow, and now he's a no, dude. I don't
know, man.
This isn't happening.
I saw Steve working with it. Keep the elbow in. Looked a little more confident on it.
Kyle Anderson changed.
I feel like we're saying the same thing, just in two different ways, to be honest. But
this is one of those nights. I think.
Give better stuff. That's where I'm at. I'm not even to be honest with you, I'm not even mad about the whole thing. I just I watched the Minnesota era. I'm gonna actually tie it to my overarching anti-NBA point, which is way too many dudes come into the league way too raw, and it's a rough product until they figure it out a little bit. Wiggins obviously knows how to play basketball. He's not a terrible player. Minnesota had to watch him go through his college years, for lack of a better way to put it. And we're watching that with Kuminga, and I think that is at least partially confirming opinions.
I wonder.
And yes, Kuminga has not, to make this point, yes, Kuminga has not proven he's worth the contract he's demanding right now.
So what do you think about people that are saying that he's pressing after that, not taking the contract?
I just think he's out of I actually don't buy that. I think he's not in position. He's not.
Yeah.
I like him, but he's not a 3. Not a 3 with two bigs who can't shoot the ball. He's a 4. Oh. He could probably play a 3 if you had a spacing big man. Fine. But they don't. And his limitations show very clearly in this setting. It reminds me, actually, you always compare him to Aaron Gordon. It reminds me of some of those years in Orlando where they tried to play Aaron Gordon as a guard, and you're just what are we doing here?
Well, that's Wiggins in Minnesota, right? Kind of the same thing where it's that's just not fair to those guys. By the way, I would like him to be Aaron Gordon. I would like him. I don't think he ever will be. I don't think Kuminga ever wants to be. I bet Kuminga looks at Aaron Gordon and is fuck that. It could be averaging 28. No chance. But in my opinion, I would love him to be AG because that's a winning player, baby. Although Denver's a mess. I think shit, man. Back to what you were saying about the lineup stuff. They are doing him a disservice because I think the lineup, the best way he would fit in the lineup is if he could do what GP2 does very well. Can you imagine if Kuminga played how GP2 did in that big lineup? Be perfect because he'd be cutting, he'd be defending, he'd be dunking, he'd be rebounding, he'd be doing all that stuff. But then in real life,
and this gets back to the real issue. Why is he not coming off the bench in that role? And we all know the answer.
Yeah. So
it's kind of is he even going to be? Can they even get him there when that's, the ego stuff's in the picture, and the answer is probably not.
Pressing, I guess back to my question, if he's actually pressing because he didn't take $150 million in the chance that he could get 220 in restricted free agency, that's crazy, Samuel. I think that's just ins to get $150 million. And you think he's not the restricted free agency, you don't even think that's going to happen, the 200 mil. Like at this point,
I mean,
it's
it's October.
no, it's not going to
27th.
be like this. It's not going to be like this, right? He's going to be better, but man,
Yeah,
150 sound pretty good. Probably should take him 150.
it's rough, man. It's rough.
He's going to get paid anyway.
I'm not here for this Minnesota revisionism, though. That's all I'll tell you right now.
Wiggins.
I was there. I was there in 2016. I was there in 17. I watched that shit. You will not tell me I didn't see what I saw.
He will have the best career out of everyone.
Yeah, but I mean, he's already achieved a moment none of those guys will achieve. That's my thing. Careers are defined by moments more than stats. Unless you do James Harden things, then you can like live off stats, or like Westbrook, right? But what I'm saying is he's achieved a playoff moment that the other guys are highly unlikely to ever achieve.
Because he's always had it. Anyway, we're not doing this again. We're not. We already did this for 10 minutes earlier. We're not doing this again. But good for Wiggs. I'm happy.
All right. Later, guys.
Nice.